Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in and listening to my story. Yeah, I can only begin with something I'm still trying to comprehend, um, and that is the fact that I hear no ringing in my ears. It's absolutely silenced. My tinnitus is silenced. I've been silent now for I think like 2 weeks, and I just wanted to encourage everyone who is struggling with this horrible ailment. Um, I was thinking about, should I make a testimonial, share my experience, because it was also very attractive to just experience the silence and be done with it, as I can imagine most people do. They achieve silence, and the problem is solved, and the bliss follows, and they just go on with their lives. But I feel a moral responsibility and obligation to share my personal story on how I have obtained absolute silence. Okay, because in many of the um, testimonials or videos or comments that I read about their success stories, and it's wonderful, obviously, and I realize there's a multitude of kinds of tinnitus, and the ways that you can get tinnitus, and how severe it can be. But having said that, in most of the um, testimonials, it's like the bottom line is like it's gone for 99%. I've silenced my tinnitus for 99%. It's still very little in the background somewhere, but it doesn't bother me anymore, and it's problem solved. But I can assure you, I, it's been reduced to level 0. Okay, and so what I used to do in the beginning, this is the phase of shock and terror. For me, it was the first 6 to 12 months, and I would constantly press my fingers in my ears like this. Okay, so I just did a tinnitus check. So what I used to do is measure my tinnitus, like how severe is it now? Is it high? Is it low? And then like trying to analyze, like, what have I been doing and how did it result in the level of the severity or the intensity of my tinnitus. It was just very complex, and I just did a check. The results are in. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. I am free of tinnitus. I've been suffering. I'm not saying like I had tinnitus for 3 years, because I was suffering from tinnitus for 3 years. And I know very well the distinction between, being able to just let it be and find distraction, because there are many fine things you can focus on in this life. But my tinnitus was so intrusive that I was unable to just sort of get accustomed to it, or get used to it, or live with it. So silence is possible. I I got it all of a sudden, a little over 3 years ago. It was in the night, the 4th of January. I remember it very well, and it was 4 a.m. and I woke up because all of a sudden, tinnitus. It woke me up 4 a.m. that night, and I was frightened by it, because it was absolutely novel to me. I never had any um, tinnitus or symptoms that were similar to this, and sometimes you get that tiny, like, beep, and it sort of fades away. So I was really hoping that, so maybe this is an extended version of a beep that will just fade away. It didn't fade away. It did not fade away. And so what did I do? First of all, people were just telling me, like, calm down. This is, it's gonna pass, and just keep living your life. Don't be too obsessed by it, because I was obsessed by it, and how could I not be? Because every single task I would do, I would just be, the tinnitus would just overrule the attention and the focus. So, classical story. I went to my general practitioner. They said, "Oh yeah, you have ringing ears. There's no cure. I'm sorry. Might go away, but don't take my word on it. And just assume that this is gonna be a part of you for the rest of your life from now on." But I was unwilling to accept that, obviously, and so I said, well, at least can we measure something? At least can we analyze something? And so the GP said, like, well, okay, well, I'll refer you to the ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor. And so I went there, and they did their tests, and they said, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you, because for tinnitus, this is very a difficult message to convey, but we don't have any answers to this. This is rarely new. We're working on a solution. They're very far in their development of their research, etc. But we have no solution. In principle, tinnitus is for life. You're gonna have to live with this. And again, I told them I cannot accept this, and maybe at that time I was just in denial, but I was also just intuitively, I felt it. It's just unnatural for a human being to experience this for a lifetime. If you look it up, even in Wikipedia, it says it's not a condition, it's not a disease, it's a symptom. It's a symptom. So there's something else to be fixed. And I told the ENT, well, can we maybe by ways of exclusion try and sort it out? So they referred me to neurology department, and I did the scans. I did brain scans. I did 5 brain scans, and because they thought they were seeing some anomalies, and I was just pressing, just like, keep going until you find something, basically. But then at the end, the neurologist said, we are unable to distinguish something that's causing your tinnitus. There's no physical, there's not a physical and visible reason we can diagnose for your tinnitus. And so they said we know very little about tinnitus. And this was a neurologist, and he said, yeah, good luck living with tinnitus. And I was starting to get very, agitated and angry, and I was getting a feeling of I'm exhausting all my options here. What the fuck am I gonna do? Like, this is unbearable. What are the things I need to do? And so there was one other doctor, and he was an anesthesiologist, because the neurologist said, well, maybe, just maybe, it might have to do with the nerves in your, you have a lot of nerves, the nervus vagus that runs here. And maybe you can do some tests at the anesthesiologist. And so I went there lots of times. They prescribed me medication. They prescribed me pills to basically painkillers. That did not cure my tinnitus. So I was done. And I was unwilling to admit defeat in that, and I was just researching, and I found Liam Steps Tinnitus on YouTube, because I was looking for other people that were going through, the same thing, and maybe how they were dealing with this, and then one channel, Liam Steps Tinnitus, talks about this, and he talks about this in a manner that I could feel that he knew that he was talking about, because he's had tinnitus, severe tinnitus, and he was completely free of tinnitus. And I could just not imagine at a certain point how that would be possible to obtain absolute silence, and just for it to go away entirely. And so what I did was I did mild alterations of my lifestyle. Okay, so the program that Liam offers, Triumph Over Tinnitus 3.0, is what I followed, and it has a broad range of instructions on how to live your life, because I caused my tinnitus. I know that my tinnitus was a result of how I was living my life. So first of all, I was I ran my own company. I was working 7 days a week, and then I was drinking, espressos, but then you have double espressos, and then you have triple espressos, then you have quadruple espressos, and I was just fueling myself all the time, and also late in the evenings. So actually my sleep would not be proper, and you have to realize that this is something that had built up for like maybe 5 or 6 years of intense, just being overwrought by what I was doing. And at a certain point, my alarm system went off. My tinnitus emerged, and so as I was saying, it started to, okay, well, I can't drink coffee. Maybe then I will do just one, and um, I'm a meat lover, so that was a, I welcomed that, and I, became a carnivore, and it was just eating meat all the time, and but I was still not chilling so much, and I was not fasting, and I was still exposing myself to stimuli all the time, and so basically, it's either all or nothing. If you want to cure your tinnitus, it's all or nothing. Okay, so so ultimately, I didn't quit the company, but I left the management over to someone else, and I stepped out. I um, I moved to Sri Lanka. Uh, None of this is something you have to do, but this is my story. And I went into a monastery where there are no there's no cell phones allowed, so there's no dopamine addiction from your phone. Okay, there is noble silence, so there's no interaction all the time. There's just silence. Obviously, there is meditation all day long, and they have a rule that you don't eat after 12, but they have 2 meals. But I decided for myself, I'm gonna do this fasting thing. So I've been here a little over a month, and so I would have my breakfast meal, and then I would not eat for the rest of the 24 hours, or 23 hours, basically, every single day. Every single day. I would just eat one meal in the morning. I would get up at 5 a.m., sunrise, have my meal, do my meditation, do my reading, do my walking. That's it. And then when sun sets, and it becomes golden hour, um, and the sun goes down, I go to I synchronize my sleep with the sun, and so there was no coffee here. There was no there was tea here. Initially, I was still drinking my teas, but then ultimately I found out there was no caffeine or caffeine in it at all, and I was not feeling any effect. So I totally quit caffeine as well. Um, and after 2 weeks, I the tinnitus started dropping so quickly, and I had been striving for 3 years, and it started dropping. Within 2 weeks, it started getting lower and lower and lower and lower. So I knew there's only one thing that can fix your body, and that is your body. Okay, it's autophagy. It is the state your body gets in where the healthy cells eat the dead cells. And so I knew that the only way to recover from this was to let my body do the work. Let my body do the work, literally. And that's what I did, and results started to come in very fast. And so this is like a closed experiment. It's another environment. Okay, it's not realistic for ordinary life in society. I realize this, but it just shows that it's possible. And I had no belief whatsoever anymore that I was able to get rid of my tinnitus, and it went away. It went away. I hear silence and some birds in the distance. It's bliss. I can sit in silence, enjoy my silence for. It's the most precious gift. I was able to was able to recover. So I'm extremely grateful. And just, my message is don't take half measures. It's not gonna work. I did that for 3 years. I know people do it for 7, 10. I know people that have it for 10, 20, or 30 years. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So this is my story, and I'm just thinking if I'm missing any elements. Yeah, celibacy. I just I abstained from sexual activity at all, not watching pornographic content or masturbation or intercourse whatsoever. None. So it was just a complete, detox, and all the elements were there, except for the meat. So really missed that. So gonna have to compensate a little there. But this is my message to you. Silence is possible. I never thought, and this is from the bottom of my heart, I never thought I was going to make this video with this message. Silence is possible, and I have silence now. I have silence. There's no ringing. There's no white noise. There's nothing. Silence is possible. Go all the way. It is possible.